Let me turn on our recording. Here we go. All right, so we're going to look at populations and changes in the ecosystem. In the chat box, I'm going to give me a definition of an ecosystem. What do you remember from last week? What is an ecosystem? You can put it in the chat box. What is an ecosystem? It consists of both the living and non-living things in a particular area. You remember last week we used the words biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic are the things that are alive, like these fish, that looks like some kind of bug, bird, rabbit. So the biotic factors, I think this is some kind of bug, but to me it looks like a witch on a broomstick. Anyway, biotic factors are alive or living. That's also the trees, the plants, the grass. The ecosystem also has abiotic or non-living factors, rocks, dirt, clouds, okay, things that are not alive. So an ecosystem, in your picture, it's circled in red, but it is all of the living and the non-living things of that area. This week, we're going to talk about the populations or groups of animals that live in the ecosystems, how they have changed over time. Yes. Okay, it's everything living and non-living in that area. Today, we're going to look at Charles Darwin and his theory. We're going to talk about some notes, and you've got stuff in Canvas. Tomorrow is biodiversity. Not Wednesday, you guys are sixth period, so on Thursday, we have a lab on natural selection. That's going to be due for a grade. And that's not posted yet, but it'll be posted probably tomorrow, and you'll have until Thursday night to get that completed, and I'll walk you through where the pieces are, how to do it, what to do, all of that. Friday, we're going to talk about succession or extinction of these species and what that means. So your graded assignment this week is a lab that's due on Thursday. Before we start with new stuff, I want to review. I know Friday was a long time ago, so I want to see what you guys remember. I'm going to put a poll on the board. Question 1. This picture is from a crustacean. Looks like a little crab. Okay, what is his most popular dwelling area in a freshwater ecosystem? A, the littoral, B, the limnetic, C, the euphotic, or D, the benthic zone? Where would this little guy live? A, the littoral, B, the limnetic, C, the euphotic, or D, the benthic zone? All right, it is pretty tied up. So we know that this little crab guy wouldn't live in the limnetic zone because that's the surface water of the deeper parts. He's not just floating around out there in the middle of the lake. He won't live in the euphotic zone because that's kind of the middle where there's still light for photosynthesis, but it's not the bottom and it's not the top. So he doesn't just swim around in the middle of the lake. So we've got the littoral, which is up near the edge or the coast, where you've got grass and some other kind of small animals where you would be standing if you walked into the shore of the lake or the pond. And then you've got the benthic zone, which is the deeper floor. For these kinds of little crabs or these are little crustacean guy, they're in the littoral zone, more along the edges where they can feed off of the grass and the animals in it. They're not deep down in the bottom of the lake in the benthic zone. So they're going to be more in the littoral, still in the water, but towards the edges in the shallower water where there's still light for the plants to grow, where animals would lay their eggs to hatch small eggs that they could eat on. So question 2, another review from last week. The marine biome. A is a large ecosystem, but not larger than some terrestrial ecosystems. B is characterized by 4 different zones. C has little species diversity. Or D covers a small portion of Earth's surface. The marine biome. A is a large ecosystem, but not larger than some terrestrial ecosystems. B is characterized by 4 different zones. C has little species diversity. Or D covers a small portion of Earth's surface. So marine is water. The water biomes. Water actually is the largest ecosystem. We have more water than land in our Earth or on our Earth. So it's not A. Oceans, lakes, water definitely has a very large species diversity. You've got everything from shrimp or catfish to blue whales and great sharks. It does not only cover a small portion of Earth. Okay, it covers a very large portion. So the only one of these that is true is it is characterized by the 4 different zones. Maybe you can catch up with the recording if you need to. I'll post it sometime at the end of the day after classes end. All right, question 3. For whatever reason, it has not let me put a 3rd question in a poll. So you can just answer in the chat box for us. Which of the following typical adaptations of marine animals is not found in sea otters? A, a streamlined body. B, webbed hands and feet. C, body covered in thick fur. Or D, a breathing apparatus on the top of their head. These are all normally found in marine animals. Which one is not found in sea otters? Otters do have a streamlined body that helps them swim better. They do have webbed hands and feet to help them swim. They do have thicker fur, okay, to keep them warm, help conserve energy, but they do not have a breathing apparatus at the top of their head. They don't have a blowhole at the top of their head like a whale or some other kind of animal might. They breathe through their nose and their mouth when they come up to the surface. Please Google a sea otter if you've never seen one. They're really cute. You can see them, the Atlanta Aquarium has them as well. I just am not, screen share is being weird again today. So if you haven't seen one, please check them out. They're definitely my favorite. They're right up there with the penguins. It's always my favorite part when I head to the aquarium. All right, so expectations for you guys. Please remember to park, P-A-R-C, participate. Okay, if I do a poll, nobody else sees that poll, so even if you don't know, you can answer. You have like a 1 in 4 chance, but it also helps me know that you're here and you're awake and you're participating. And it tells me that if we don't all get it, I need to repeat or I need to do something different. So please make sure that you participate. You're attending all of your classes. You read and respond to your emails, and you complete all of your assessments and assignments. Again, I'm going to start putting in zeros in the gradebook this week, so please make sure that you're getting things completed. Let me know if I can help you with that in any way. So, natural selection. We're going to talk about Darwin, Charles Darwin, his theory about how a species becomes a species. In the picture is Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin sailed on the USS Beagle. He traveled throughout the American islands. And when he traveled throughout the American islands, he was looking and observing different animal species. So, if you've heard of Charles Darwin before, or you've studied him in another class, or you've just happened to see a Jeopardy question about him, whatever it is, please answer in your poll, which island or islands did Charles Darwin travel to? A, Hawaii, B, Samoa, C, Galapagos, D, Madagascar. Please make sure you answer again. Nobody but me sees your answers, and I won't tell. So make sure that you're at least trying. If you notice there's a 5th answer on here that says, I don't know. Hey, if you have no idea, select that one. I want to know what you guys know. Darwin traveled throughout the Galapagos Islands. Letter C. If you were to look on a map, and I can't share my screen to show you right now, but if you were to look on a map, the Galapagos Islands are in the middle between North and South America. Nope, you know this. This is just for my information to see what you know. Okay, it's between North and South America, exactly on the equator pretty much. If you were to look at Central America, it's to the left or to the west of Central America a little bit. He traveled extensively throughout the Galapagos Islands. Okay, I wanted you to know this because it's on the equator, which is going to affect the type of animals and the type of plants and stuff that he sees in that tropical zone. Darwin said, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. So he said, it doesn't matter if you're the strongest, it doesn't matter if you're the smartest. The one who's going to survive is the one who can adapt and respond to change. All right, so as he's sailing through these islands, he's not a sailor by nature, so he is a scientist, and that was his point in going on these voyages, okay, to check out the animals, to study the land. He saw a variety of finches. A finch is a bird, but he noticed that each species or each different type was only found on a specific island. So on island number 1, he saw this kind of finch. On island number 2, there was a finch, but it looked a little different. The third island also had a group of finches, but they were even a little different. So that kind of got him curious as to why all of these different species, why they were different, how they survived, how they became different. He also saw some lizards that can swim, which kind of freaks me out a little bit. But he was thinking, well, if the lizards back home don't swim, how come these can? So he was very curious about the variation in the animals from island to island. What does variation mean? You can put it in the chat box for us. What does variation mean? A variety, or the differences. So he was curious about why these animals were different from island to island. If you notice in the picture, there are 4 birds. All of these birds are a finch. But if you look at them, you can tell that they're all slightly different. This one's got a larger head and a larger beak. This one's smaller with a longer pointy beak. Okay, so they're all kind of different. And that's kind of our silly little question. That's kind of what he's dreaming of. It keeps him awake at night, and he literally writes about that in his journal. He can't sleep because he's wondering about this. Why does this finch live on island 1, but the one over here on the second island looks so different? Natural selection is the biggest factor for evolution. Variation is the term used to describe why natural selection is such a big factor. There's a variety or different kinds of animals, and I don't just mean the difference in a cow and a pig. I mean, not all cows are the same. So within one species or one group of animals, type of animal, they're different because animals have adapted to their environment. They do this so that they can survive, reproduce. They're able to pass down those dominant traits to their offspring or children, and then those dominant traits keep them alive longer, help them have more babies, help them to increase in number. Right, so animals adapt to the environment or change, evolve into a variety of different features for these 4 reasons: to survive, to reproduce, to pass the dominant trait on, and to increase in number. Right, just like humans, no 2 are the exact same. You could kind of group people into different ways. I like people with a certain hair color or people with a certain nose shape, but even within that grouping, they're a little bit different. So Darwin produced 4 points in his key terms of natural selection that cause these animals to have unique traits: survival, reproduction, passing down the dominant traits to their offspring, and increasing in number. I'm going to give you guys some time to work in Canvas underneath today's date. Okay, go through and look at and work on these modules. I'm going to hang out here if you have a question or problem. I'm going to set a timer for like 18-ish minutes. And at 2 o'clock, we're going to meet back here. We've got a couple of wrap-up questions to do, and then I'll get you out of here on time. So don't exit me. Just minimize it while you're working. Try to give you some time in Canvas so that you don't have as much homework and so that you can do it while I'm here to ask questions. I'll set a timer for about 18 minutes. At 2 o'clock, we'll come back and wrap up. I'm here if you have questions or need help.